Hey everyone, so in this video let's talk about the foods to avoid and why. So PCOS is considered as a hormonal, metabolic and reproductive disorder. So when these disorders happen in the body, it's important to take care of our body sensibly and make sure we don't aggravate the condition. So the first thing that we need to do is to eliminate the foods that can worsen this condition. Number one is sugar. Sugar is number one culprit as it spikes our blood glucose levels and our insulin levels in the body, which can trigger multiple complications. Since PCOS condition itself is linked with chronic inflammation, and consuming sugar on top of that can make this condition even worse. So there are different forms of sugar available. For example, sucrose, which is table sugar, fructose, which is a form of sugar found in fruits, and glucose, which is converted from carbohydrates. So I get a lot of questions asking me if it's okay to consume jaggery or honey. Basically, both of them are a combination of fructose and glucose, and all forms of sugar can actually spike our insulin levels. So it's better to get rid of sugar. But if it's hard for you to manage without sugar, then I would suggest some alternatives like stevia and erythritol. We will discuss about that in detail in my upcoming videos. So number two is carbohydrates. So consuming excess carbohydrates can also spike our insulin levels. Since our goal is not to increase our blood sugar levels and insulin levels, it is better to cut down on carbohydrates. So instead of consuming white rice, bread, pasta, make sure that you get those complex carbohydrates from your vegetables as much as possible on a daily basis. So then comes dairy. Dairy, well, we have multiple reasons why we need to avoid dairy, like milk and milk products. So the problem is dairy contains specific amino acids that can spike our insulin levels, and it also carries lactose, which is very hard to break down or digest, which leads to chronic inflammation. Number three is that dairy also carries a lot of hormones, which can trigger a lot of hormonal imbalances in PCOS condition. So it's better to avoid dairy and observe the changes in your body. But if it's hard for you to manage without dairy, then consuming small amount of curd from organic milk is fine. The best alternatives would be almond milk and coconut milk. So then comes gluten. So gluten is basically a protein found in wheat, rye and barley. It's also commonly available in foods like bread, pasta and roti. So the problem is chronic inflammation in the intestine can lead to a condition called leaky gut. So this inflammation in the intestine can actually trigger multiple complications like autoimmune, food allergies and sensitivities. So it's important to actually eliminate the foods with gluten, because that's actually important for quick recovery, especially in PCOS condition. So then comes processed food. As we know that processed food are full of refined sugar and chemicals and additives that will basically worsen our health. So all these packaged foods that you find in your grocery stores like ketchups and refined flour products, they basically add a lot of additives to these foods and remove the nutrition out of them to extend the expiry date on the product. And to improve the taste of the product, they add a lot of refined sugar and MSG, which is monosodium glutamate, to improve the taste and texture of the product. The problem is this MSG in these products can actually worsen our health. It's in fact associated with obesity, reproductive disorders and neurotoxic effects. So it's better to avoid these processed food, because as we know that can lead to multiple complications. So hope this video was informative. But before I wrap this up, you might be having this question as to what is left to eat. Well, I'll make a detailed video on that in my upcoming videos on what you can include, which are better and healthy alternatives. So go ahead and subscribe to this channel and leave a comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.